Before you start putting the pages of your website together, I wanted to give you a quick lesson about how to use the WP Bakery Page Builder. This is the premium plugin that came with the theme, and you can use it to design your site without coding. So it's going to let you edit the rows and the columns and the elements within those rows and columns of your website. And it also comes with a lot of extra elements which you can add to your pages. So if you go to your sidebar and scroll down just a bit, you'll find the WP Bakery Page Builder and all of its options right here. Everything is already set up, so don't worry about going into the settings. I'm going to go ahead and create a demo page so that I can show you how this thing works. So I'm going to go to Pages and I'll add a new page. And I'll call this How to Use Visual Composer. Okay, normally with WordPress, you have a visual and a text tab here, which you can use to create a page. And you have all of your formatting options. The problem with this is that it doesn't give you the ability to really design your site. It just gives you the ability to create text and edit that text. However, the page builder will allow you to do all these things. So up here under your page title field, you'll find the backend editor button. If you click on that, it'll take you to the page builder. And you'll notice the button changes back to classic mode. So if you click on this button again, it'll take you back into the classic WordPress editor. So to start adding elements, you can click on the big plus icon. And then you've got all of these elements which do different things. You've got contact forms, images, video galleries, Google Maps, HTML. You can do charts. You can add a rev slider. You can make a media grid, a post grid. I could make an entire course about this page builder, but I'm not going to do that. At the end of this video, I'm going to show you where you can find lots of different tutorials that will show you how to use the Visual Composer. For now, I'll show you some things that will be helpful to know while you complete this course. So the first and most basic element that you should always add before you add anything else is a row. So I'm going to go ahead and insert a row at the top of my page. And inside that row, I'm going to click on the plus and add an element to my row. For example, if I wanted to add the revolution slider, I click on the rev slider down here. And here I can choose which slider I'd like to add. I'm going to add my dark text slider. Under the slider, I'll add another row. And if you look here at the top of the row, you'll see that there are different column settings. So I could do 2 columns, I can do 3 columns, 4 columns, 5 columns, divided equally or divided by thirds, quarters, or halves. I'll go ahead and click on 3 columns, and that's going to create 3 different boxes here in my row. I'm going to add an element to my first column. And up here above the elements, you'll see there are a bunch of different tabs. You've got content, social, structure, WordPress widgets. These are all categories of different widgets that you can use for the page builder. So here under the content tab, for example, maybe I'd like to add an icon. So I'll click on icon. And there are different icon libraries that you can use. For this icon, I'll just use the Font Awesome library. And the icon that is selected now is the circle. You can select a different icon by clicking on the drop-down arrow. And for example, maybe I'll add a shipping icon. And then here you can choose the color of the icon. I'll just go ahead and choose a custom color. And I'll make this similar to the color of my website's primary color. I'll make it a large icon. I'll align the icon in the center. And then I'll click on Save. Now what I can do is I can hover over my icon element and I can just copy this icon. And I can drag this one over to the center. And then I'll copy the center one and drag this one over to the last column. Now if I want to add something under my first icon, I can click on the little plus underneath that element in the column. And I'm going to scroll down and I'm going to find the red heading. All of the red elements come with this specific theme. So all of these are styled specifically for the theme. If you get another theme, you might see a different set of elements, but most of the elements you see here at the top come with Visual Composer. So I'm going to click on the red heading, and I'm going to change the red heading settings. And here we've got the general settings. I'm going to adjust the text alignment to align it to the center. Then I'll go to the title tab. I'll click on the text drop down and add some text. So I'll put fast shipping, for example. And I'll just leave everything as default. And then maybe for my element tag, I could use the H3 heading, which means I'm going to use the third heading size. The first heading size is usually bigger. The second is smaller. The third is smaller than that. So I think H3 should be fine here. I can change the text color if I want. Next, I'll click on the subtitle tab and I'll add a subtitle. And for example, I'm going to put Worldwide Express Delivery. And then I'll choose P for paragraph text, which means it's just normal text. Those are the only elements I'll edit, so I'll click on Save. And then I'll make a copy and put it under the center icon. And then I'll make another copy and put it under the last icon. So all three icons are basically the same. I'm going to switch the icons to a different graphic. So I'll go in to edit this icon here, and I'll change this icon to a leaf. And I'll edit the last icon, and I'll change this to a certified badge. And then we need to edit the headings. So I'll change the center heading to Fresh Gear. And I'll change the subtitle to New Gear from Top Brands. And then I'll change the last text to Our Guarantee. And I'll change the subtitle to 30-day money back. And I'll click on Save. Okay, now we want to add a little bit of space to the top and the bottom of this row so that it doesn't feel like it's squished on our site. So to do that, we're going to change the padding, which is the size of the area that surrounds our elements. So click on the little pencil icon at the top of the row. Go to Design Options. And here you'll find your padding. You can either do this with the padding or with the margins, but I like to use padding. So for the padding, I'll put 50 on top and 50 on the bottom. Once you're done, click on Save Changes. And next, let's add another row. I'm going to do a 2-column row, and I want this row to stretch all the way across the browser. So I'll click on the pencil to edit the row. And for row stretch, I'll select Stretch Row and Content. I'd like to make these 2 columns equal height. And for the content position, I'll put middle, so the text can be vertically aligned to the middle. I'd like to add a background to this column so that the image fills up the entire column. And we have a couple options for this column. We can either add a single image to this column, and that will just show a single image. But the problem with that is you're going to have padding all the way around the image, and you're going to need to adjust the padding. So what's better is to add a background to this column so that the image fills up the entire column. So we'll go into our column settings by clicking on the little pencil here at the top of the column. And then we'll click on Design Options here at the top. And we're going to upload a background image. And for this example, I'm going to use one of my slider images. And from the drop-down box below the image, I'll select Cover so that the image covers the entire column. And I'll click on Save Changes. Okay, now over here, I want to make this entire column black, and then I want to overlay some white text. So first we need to make our column black. I'm going to click on the pencil here above the column to go into the column settings. I'll click on Design Options, and for the background color, I'm going to select a nice dark gray color. I'll click on Save Changes. And next I'll add an element to this column. I'll add some white text. So I'll use the same red heading that we used before. And for the settings, we're going to go to the Title tab. And here I'll add some text. So for example, I'll put the most durable outdoor gear. Here I could change the size of the font. I think the heading 2 should be fine. For text color, we want to make this white. So I'm going to click on the text color picker, and I'll slide the picker all the way to white. Then I'll click on Subtitle, and I'm going to add a subtitle. Okay, for the subtitle element tag, I want to change this to P, so it's just a normal paragraph, the small text. And I want to change the text color to white. And I'll click on Save Changes. Oh, before I do that, let's go to Design Options and let's give it some padding. So I'll give this a top padding of 70. I'll give this a left padding of 60, a right padding of 60, and a bottom padding of 60 as well. Okay, and then I'll click on Save Changes. So the only two elements we want in this row are the text and the images. I'm going to add another row. And in this row, I'm going to add a blog feed. So I'm going to use the red blog. I'm going to put 3 posts per page. I'm going to align the text underneath each blog preview to the left. I'm going to use a large post image size. For the hover effect, I'll use the shine flash effect. Here under layout settings, for an extra large screen like big desktop monitors, I'm going to do 3 per row, and then I'll leave the large screen as 3 per row. The medium screen will be 2 per row, and on small screens like for phones, I'll set these to only 1 preview per row, and then I'll click on Save Changes. And then I need to add some padding to my rows so it doesn't feel like it's squished together. So I'll click on the pencil icon here at the top right of the row. I'll go to Design Options, and I'll change the padding top to 50, and I'll change the padding bottom to 50, and I'll click on Save. Okay, so before we preview this page, let's quickly go over what we did. We added the slider revolution to the top of our page. We put some space in between the slider revolution and the next row down. And for the next row, we have 3 icons. And then below that, we have a full width section with a background image on one side and a black row with white text on the other side. And the next row down, we have our red blog previews. Here at the very bottom of the page, you'll find the page settings. This is not related to Visual Composer. This is just something that comes with a theme. Under General, you've got lots of body options. I recommend keeping all of this as it is. Under Page Layout, you can choose to use a right sidebar, no sidebar, a left sidebar, or a default page layout. For header top, you can choose to use a top header for this page, which is very similar to the top bar for WordPress. This top bar is good if you're going to be using currencies or language translations. Next down, we have the logo. If you'd like to add a custom logo to this page only, you can upload a custom logo here. We've already set a custom logo, which is site-wide, and we've uploaded it to the header using the Bixby settings in the sidebar. And scrolling down, we've already gone over most of this information earlier. The header attributes is the same as we went over earlier in the course. If you go down to page title and breadcrumbs, you can either enable or disable the page title and breadcrumbs. On this page, I'll disable that so that you don't see the page title and breadcrumbs. Below that, you've got more page title and breadcrumb options. I'm not going to get into that. Under content, you've got some more options. I suggest leaving all these as default. You can choose to add a custom footer to this page. If you want to, you can choose from one of the footers that come with Bixby, or you could choose your Grizzly Ridge footer. You can also create the footers using the Visual Composer. So if you want to add a custom footer, you can go into Footers, add a new footer, use Visual Composer to create a new footer, and then add that footer here. And that's basically it. I know that we barely dipped our toes into the page builder, but hopefully this gives you an idea about how it works and what you could do with it. Let's go ahead and publish this page and then preview it, and I'll show you what we created. So I'm going to click on Preview Page here at the top. I'll open it in a new tab. And here's the page that we just created. So here are our icons. Here is the full width row that's got a background image in the first column and the white text on black background in the second column. And below that we have the blog posts. And for example, maybe I want to make this full width row taller. So all I would do is add some padding to the top and the bottom of the text, and that'll make both rows equal height, and it'll make the entire row taller. So let's go ahead and do that. So to edit a page, click on the little edit page icon at the top of the screen while you're on the page you want to edit. And I'll scroll down and find that full width section. So here's the column with the black background and the white text. I'm going to click on the pencil icon for the red heading, and then I'll go to Design Options. And I'm going to increase my padding on the top and on the bottom by 100 each. So 170 on the top and 160 on the bottom. And maybe I'll add a little bit more padding to each side as well. And I'll click on Save. And I'll click on Update here at the top. When it's done updating, I'll click on View Page. I'll open this up in a new tab. And when I scroll down, you can see it looks much better. It doesn't feel so squished. And just for the sake of it, let's add a button to this column as well. So I'm going to go back into the red heading settings. And up here at the top, we've already got a title and a subtitle. Click on the button tab, and that'll open up settings for a button. And I'm going to go ahead and put in a destination URL. And I'm going to go ahead and search for a page using the search bar. So I'll type in shop inside the search bar. I'll find my shop page and I'll click on that, and that'll populate my URL for me. For the link text, I'm going to put shop now. I'll click on set link. And the button type is going to be white because we have a black background. I'll click on save changes, update. I'll go back to my site and I'll hold down shift while clicking refresh. Remember that holding down shift is going to refresh your page cache. And there we go. Now we've got a button under our text. So I hope this little lesson helped you understand how to use the page builder. If you want to dive deeper into the page builder and learn more about what you can do with it, I suggest going to YouTube and search for WP Bakery. And then you can go to WP Bakery's YouTube channel, click on the videos, and scroll through all these videos until you find something that you'd like. Here's a good one right here, WP Bakery Page Builder Tutorial for Beginners. And then you've got lots of other tutorials that you can go through on here as well. In the next few videos, let's start setting up our pages.